Suppose adages stick around because they are true. And this match day certainly proved our international break refrain correct. Some of the big boys took their matches for granted and paid for it in the end. And just a friendly reminder that there are no off weeks in the Premier League this season. Sheffield United got sent down, remember? Chaos reigns today on Coffee with a Kick. Hello and welcome back to another episode of Coffee with a Kick. We are here just before the international break really kicks off to break down the wreckage that was match week 11 for a lot of our stalwart competitors. Not a lot of fun had, especially if you're looking at our picks. I mean, you had a great Saturday, but Sunday really rocked your world, huh? Both of us, really. I mean, I'm trying to exclude myself here, but I was worse off than you were.
Yeah, I mean, I started out 4-0, and turns out those were the only four I got correct.
Yeah.
So it was really hopeful. I think it's simply because I texted you about being 4-0.
Yep, changed yourself.
The mojo, it just didn't go my way, but still some good matches. Standings look interesting right now.
Definitely some good matches. Definitely some good matches, just not the results that we were looking for. But we'll go ahead and jump right into that first one, which was the only one that we both got right, which was Brentford beating Bournemouth. 3-2. Many more goals than we had expected in this one, but it was still it was a good match. This one was maybe the most exciting match of the match day. I don't know. It kind of ended a little bit early as far as what it was, but a terrible giveaway there by Brentford fulfilled a great first 15 minutes by Bournemouth. They really deserved to be up after that. But Brentford was back in pretty short order. By the 27th minute, they had a goal, which was a long throw, actually. One of those long throws. We've seen a lot more of those be successful in recent seasons. I don't know why, but it certainly seems that way. And then Bournemouth came back again in the 49th minute with some, what I said was crafty corner kick play. And it worked out quite well for Kluivert. It's Kluivert, right? Justin Kluivert? We'll go with that.
Yeah.
But the second half was all Brentford, with Damsgaard getting a 50th minute goal, assisted by Buemo, and Wissa making it a brace in the 58th with a rapid counterattack on that one. Weird angle on the 50th. A lot of goalkeepers getting beat at bad angles this match day was one of the things that I saw a lot of. And the 50th minute goal by Damsgaard really brought that in. But yeah, great win for Brentford. We both had it coming. But, any notes on your end?
Yeah, Damsgaard goal. The goalie really needs to have that near post covered.
Yeah.
Like it was just a low on the ground near post. Should not have gone in, but it was just an accurate hit. It was impressive to me that Brentford won by coming back from one down twice.
Yeah.
So good on them. They really utilized the home crowd. But it was exciting. I had it 3-1, so close, but it was a good one. Definitely one of the more exciting ones of Saturday.
Certainly was, because the next one was Crystal Palace and Fulham, with Fulham taking full honors there. 2-0. What'd you think about this one here?
This one I felt like Fulham definitely was the better team. My notes on it were, did the red card, was that the final nail? Kind of. But you kind of felt another Fulham goal coming anyway. Like they were already pressing, they were already playing better. So the red card was kind of like an encapsulation of Harry Wilson's finally knocking that second goal in. But, I mean, Fulham continues to impress versus the mid to low table teams. And if they can keep that up, they're going to rack up the points because impressive win away from home.
You always want to beat the teams that you're competitive against. And Fulham is doing that right now. I agree, the red card didn't really change. Yeah, didn't really change anything, solidified the position. Because Fulham was just not smothering necessarily, because Crystal Palace did have their chances, but it was certainly it was decisive. It settled off, and then the 83rd minute goal by Harry Wilson finally ended the match at that point with that quick counterattack. But when you're, after playing at 10 men already for a couple minutes, it's easy to give up those counterattacks when you're already down,
Yep.
So we'll move on from that to one that you could skip over. You could skip over this if you're looking at your matches. 0-0 draw between West Ham and Everton. Not a lot of notes on it. This one, basically, the only reason that Everton got any points was because of Pickford. West Ham had a lot of good chances, but Pickford had a great save in the 58th minute. And some other decisive ones as well. And then in the 74th, Semenyo bounced the winning goal off of the upright. But it was tight, but Pickford really came through for Everton in this one. And there's another goalie later on that comes through for another relegation adjacent team. Well, Everton's not really relegation adjacent currently. Yeah, they are. They're in 16th. But yeah, another goalkeeper came through. We'll get to him in a minute.
Yeah, this one, two evenly matched teams that really have their team built on the defense being the anchor. Mm-hmm. And we saw that. There was some attacking play, but besides a couple of the threatening ones you talked about, it kind of was a dull defensive match.
Yeah. Yep. And then to one that I am particularly happy to be wrong about. My Wolves take care of business at the Molineux against Southampton with a 2-0 victory. Since you got this one right, I will give you the honors.
Yeah, 2-0 and convincing at that. Sarabia, I mentioned it in our preview episode. I thought Wolves were going to start out hot. At home, they know they have to beat a team like Southampton. Second-minute goal, that's how you start out hot. And, really, they dominated the rest of the match. So, possession-wise, Wolves were very okay not having the ball. But their game plan was really great because they were pretty much boxing Southampton out of the final third. And it was really tough for them to find that creativity. But Cunha's goal, chef's kiss, that was 30-yard strike.
There were some really nice goals this match day.
Yeah.
And for once, my Wolves are on the positive end of a VAR check with a goal by Southampton getting disallowed in the 15th minute. But it was much better. It's against a lesser opponent, so you got to take that with a grain of salt. But still, a win is a win. Getting 3 points is great. Now, a lot of the other teams around us also got 3 points this weekend, but beating Southampton gets us off the bottom of the table, gets us a little bit of upwards momentum, and you know what? We've got Fulham up next match day. Like I said, it's the middle to late. We've got one more match day before we start getting to these winnable matches after this one, but we'll see.
We both knew that this was a lesser side, but based on the table, looked like it should have been a pretty even match. But I do feel like we finally saw Wolves being the more talented team on the actual field.
Yes. Sort of like an inverse of some of the other teams that have had weak first third of the seasons. Where are we now? Match day. What is this? Match day 11, right? Yeah, match day 11. So the first quarter of the season. Wolves are kind of opposite of that. They've had a very tough go of it in the first 10. And now we're starting to see when they're playing like opponents, they're getting a little bit more out of them than they have against the upper side. So hopefully they can continue that trend and be out of relegation by Christmas. We can hope. We can dream. Looking forward to it. Maybe. We'll see. We'll have to see. Maybe by the end of the year. We'll give them to the end of the year, calendar year before they're out of a relegation zone. But then we move to our first shocking result of the match day, I would say. Brighton beats City after City goes up 1-0. It comes back in the second half, and what do you have to say? What do you have to say for yourself here, Keegan?
City just didn't look good.
No.
Like the Holland goal, it was just a lucky deflection off of the keeper's save.
Yeah.
Where he was able to get to it to where it then hits off the bar and goes in.
Yeah, 2 bites at the apple it took him for that.
Yeah, outside of that, it did not feel like there was much going for us. And both of Brighton's goals, their second one was great. Amazing pass through. He kind of like fakes with his right foot, hits it with his left. But the first goal just kind of, City just couldn't clear the ball, kind of pinballed around.
Yeah.
And I felt like after the first goal, you really saw the City morale just kind of deflate. Like, oh no, here we go again. So tough loss. It's an away match, so that's the only like plus side I can think about it is it's an away match. We'll lose one, but City need to. De Bruyne will be back after international break, fully healthy.
Yes,
we're really missing Rodri. That was a text message I sent to my brother. It's very clear that
me as well.
Probably here. My theory is this, and then I'll stop talking. There was contention that Rodri should not have won the Ballon d'Or. Mm-hmm. So right now, City are playing really bad, so it makes it look like he was deserving of the Ballon d'Or. Oh. So now that, we get that out of the way, we'll come back at the international break. We'll be good, but that's my working theory.
I think it may be more just an accumulation
delusional at best.
No, I wouldn't say it's delusional, but it's that you're missing Rodri and De Bruyne because they can sort of act as that cog, in the middle of the mechanism, trying to get things to work out. Phil Foden has done that a little bit in last season. He hasn't fulfilled that role as well this one, evidenced by City. They're in second place. We're complaining a lot, but they're in second place, so it's not like they're being terrible. But they are playing poorly right now. I think this is currently the longest winning streak that Pep has had in his entire managerial career, I believe. Certainly with City. I think it's 4 straight losses across all competitions. And that's losses, guys.
Longest. He had never lost 3 straight, and now he's lost 4. Yeah. I will say, though, it was very noticeable versus Brighton that no one has stepped up into that Rodri position because there are multiple guys that were like, do I go on the attack? Do I need to stay back? So it looks like there's some communication issues, but even if we don't have De Bruyne and you have Rodri, it's very clear what he's going to do, where he's going to be, and they're just missing that. So hopefully international break, they can figure that out and plug someone in.
Yeah, and get KDB. KDB coming back healthy will hopefully help them right the ship. Hopefully just for the sake of matches. They've got Tottenham on the other side, and Tottenham is very up and down in the last couple weeks, so we'll see what team that they have. Is that a home or away? That is home against Tottenham. So, a good challenge to kind of get yourself settled back in, but certainly a winnable match. We'll get to that on the other side of the international break ourselves. But we'll move on from that. Yes, an incisive, I called that 83rd minute goal between João Pedro and Matt O'Reilly. Very, very nicely worked. Then we will move from there to Liverpool continuing their dominance. 2-0 victory over Aston Villa, with Darwin Núñez actually scoring a goal this time, with an assist by Mo Salah, and then Mo Salah capping it off in the 84th minute. That was really the only 2 notes I had were just about the goals. I said Núñez manages to score. That's my note for him.
Well, he did have to dribble around the keeper. Yeah. And he almost, when he shot it, he was like going off balance. I think he fell right after he kicked it. But he scored, and you're right. You've been knocking on Núñez for a while, so I don't know. Liverpool, they've been impressive with their defense. Yeah. It's very clear that they're the only team right now in the Premier League with a single-digit goals against. So if they keep that up, it's going to be hard for anyone to challenge them for the title. I think that they'll start to slip when they play the cities and the healthy Arsenals. But they're dominating right now. No one seems to have an answer except for who did they lose to? Was it Crystal Palace they lost to?
Let's see here. They lost. No, it was Nottingham Forest.
Nottingham is the giant slayer apparently, unless you're Newcastle.
We'll get to them. Yeah, for Liverpool, and not only is it single digits, it's basically they're only giving up half a goal a game. They're at 6 right now, out of 12. That's pretty easy math to just over half a goal a game. So when you're giving up that few, it's easy to win them. So we will move on from that Liverpool match to Aston Villa had their chances. That was my other note. They had their chances. They weren't able to convert. Over to Manchester United and Leicester. This one, I think I picked against it, and I said that I did against my own better interests as far as end of season positioning is concerned. But Manchester United finally gets themselves another win. Maybe they're starting to get right the ship. Maybe they can start moving back up the table. But it was against Leicester, a newly promoted side. So, take a chill pill real quick. It's not that great. And my main note from this is that a lot of very nice stuff. Not only did they win, they won in style. Because very nice goal by Bruno Fernandes there in the 17th minute with a back heel assist by Amad Diallo. So that was well worked. As well worked as the Leicester City second goal, I think. Maybe a little bit because of that back heel. Then in the 38th minute, it was an own goal. It was a great ball in. Poor execution by I think it was also Bruno Fernandes in there. But doesn't matter if it goes in, right? It could be as ugly as you want if it goes in. And then 82nd minute, Garnacho gets himself... You can't just leave Garnacho sitting out there on the top of the box. He's going to uncork one. And he did that here. Letting him tee it up and hit it far post. He knew right when he struck it that it was going in. I mean, it was nice.
Yeah, the Garnacho goal, probably my goal of the weekend. I wanted to pick Ipswich's bike that we'll talk about in a minute. That was very impressed. But, he barely felt... Whatever, we'll talk about that in a minute. But this one was just like... They left him a little bit open. There's still a defender right there. But, the way he just curves it right over the keeper's outstretched hand, this encapsulated what Man United want to be, but they haven't found the consistency to be that. So we'll see. But it's clear that Fernandes likes the attacking role, likes to shoot, likes to have the ball at his feet. And their previous manager did not always allow him to do that. So we'll see what the new manager allows. But 3-0 to Leicester, and Leicester's been on a pretty good streak. So that should be a morale booster going into the international break.
I don't mean to bring it up, but I did say in our preview episode that Bruno Fernandes was going to be very important to the attack. They didn't listen to me to begin with. They're listening to me now, and look how it pays off, okay? I'm just saying. I'm not saying. I'm just saying, okay? And we will move on. To Nottingham Forest and Newcastle, and my spite pick pays off. Newcastle wins it 3-1. A convincing win after a goal in the 22nd minute by Nottingham Forest. Newcastle really took over the match at that point. And it was really poor defending that let the Murillo get his goal totally unmarked on the corner kick. Totally unmarked. It was a very Wolves-esque corner kick defense in that regard. But 50th minute, you could see Newcastle getting the way back into it. 50th minute, almost had the goal of the match day. I think it was Guimaraes who had a outside of the foot curler that went just over the bar. It was almost very nice. It was almost so nice that I mentioned it being almost nice is how I'm doing this now. But gravity finally fulfills its promise in the 54th minute with Alexander Isak getting his goal. And then Joe Linton, 72nd minute, brings them in front off of Isak's assist. A nice little pull over to fling it to the far post. Curling for the post. And then here's another one. We talked about it earlier. Harvey Barnes beats the goalkeeper near post from a tight angle. How do you let that happen? Second one this match. And we have one left to get to as well.
Yeah, this one, maybe it was the fact that Nottingham were up 1-0 at half, but they kind of went into halftime with a victory type feel. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it was they're at home, they've been playing really well, they're in the top 4. Maybe it got to their head a little bit because Newcastle came out and dominated the second half. It was Murillo's first professional goal. He's 22, and they're pretty excited about him, so cool to see him get it at home against Newcastle, but man, he didn't play much defense after that because, like you said, the Harvey Barnes near post is especially tough to let in and just unacceptable, really, because it's still 2-1. Right before that, Nottingham had an attacking chance. So you're like, it just puts you out of the game. 3-1 that late in the match, you're probably not coming back. So that one was even a bit more unacceptable than the Bournemouth one earlier. But interesting. There's always some fireworks pre and post international break, and we're seeing them.
Yeah, speaking of fireworks, Ipswich Town gets their first win of the season. Yes, this is their first win of the season.
Yep.
Again, at Spurs. Crazy.
Yeah, if you thought Tottenham were going to be consistent after wiping the floor with their opponent last weekend, nope. Because they will beat, who did they beat? Was it Newcastle they beat 4-1 last week?
I'll get it here just a sec. Where am I? Tottenham.
It's Aston Villa. They beat 4-1 at home. Very impressive victory. Dominant. You're thinking Ipswich is coming to town. This might be the easiest match you could ask for afterwards. And Ipswich, I mean, they get a little magic, a little, something with that bicycle kick, and they just kind of controlled the match after that, if I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, Spurs lined up and they looked the better side because the home kits for Spurs, always solid. Ipswich Town was in their very, very pink. But once they panned to the stands, their luck charm was there. Ed Sheeran in the stands. Can't manage to get to a match when they're in Ipswich, but when it's in London, he'll make an exception.
He's always there.
Oh, yes. He's always there. But yeah, it was a bike, It was sort of stumbling, sort of halfway.
It wasn't a great jump off the ground.
Yeah, yes. Hardly jump off the ground, but it was a bike nonetheless. It was well executed nonetheless by Schmodich, or however you say that set of consonants with a few vowels. Liam Delap, though, getting the assist on that, getting his own goal in the 43rd minute. What is that? It was a bit lucky, though. The second one. For me, the man of the match was Muric, because Tottenham did have several good chances, especially in the first half. Son was really connected in the first half, and Muric was making plays, the goalkeeper there for Ipswich Town, and he earned his keep this match day. Aside from the 69th minute, just a smoked header there. That was powerful off of the corner kick by Betancourt. But, it's... Muric did his job, and Ipswich Town gets the win.
Yeah, Muric, he's a Man City Academy product, just like Liam Delap. Mm-hmm. Happy to see those guys contributing to victories, especially when it helps City eliminate some teams from the top of the table.
Certainly. When you're losing, it helps that your players are helping other teams lose too. It's a little bit tangential, but whatever. And then to finish off the match day, we've got the 1-1 draw between Chelsea and Arsenal in one of these London derbies that are going on here. Not a ton of action in it. There was a 33rd minute quick free kick by Arsenal that was overturned by VAR. It was a little sneaky one. It was sneaky. Chelsea was not happy about it. But it got overturned nonetheless. But it was a very sloppy first half. It was not connected. A lot of just scrummy play. Not a very good product, especially for two teams that you would expect to have, a nice match. Then the action that did occur was in pretty, it was a truncated little section there of good play. With the 60th minute, again, you can't get beat near post on the Gabriel Martinelli goal. You get beat near post, it's embarrassing for you. You just look bad. And then 70th minute, for Pedro Neto's goal, I used a phrase or a description that I learned from my grandfather during golfing. It was a worm burner. A worm burner there. Yeah. Just a low, hard shot. We usually use it on the golf course, like I said. But yeah, a worm burner by Pedro Neto.
Yeah, this was kind of a classic two teams who don't really have a full identity yet this season going against each other. And we see in a lot of these bigger matches with the bigger teams that whenever that first team scores, you can almost guarantee another goal is going to come within 10, 15 minutes because the adrenaline ramps up. Players start to get that extra boost of energy. So It's kind of how it broke down the second half, but I was much more impressed with Chelsea in this one. I felt like Arsenal was the better team, but Chelsea looked a mature bit. They seemed like they were actually willing to defend, and they weren't always looking for the quick counter and getting out of position. So I marked that as a win for Chelsea just in the coaching aspect.
And with Cole Palmer having a less than stellar match, like he was not very integrated with the attack or really the transition play between attack and defense. But for Arsenal, this one definitely hurts because they really should have scored in the death of this 90+6, a great ball across, two players in at it, and it just doesn't find its way into the back. Like second week in a row that they had a stoppage time chance that was not, I believe it was second week in a row, that they didn't convert on a winning opportunity. Declan Rice was the last match against Newcastle. I believe that was last week in the 90+3. That may have been 2 weeks ago, now that I'm thinking about it. But still, they've given up points here. Yes, last week they lost. Yes, it was to get points against Newcastle. Declan Rice missed the header there. And in this one, it was a collection of players who weren't able to convert. But Arsenal continues to... I mean, they're in third and fourth, Arsenal and Chelsea. And actually, this lines up exactly for my first, second, third for City, Chelsea, Arsenal. It's just Liverpool's playing way better than I expected. Sort of like the inverse of Manchester United. But we'll see. We'll see if that can continue through the rest of the season. Any other things of note from this match day before we get out of here?
I was going to mention the standings and how Liverpool now 5 points clear up top. That's a pretty big deal. And then City second, 4 points clear of a tight 3 through all the way 9. 19 and 18 points from 3 through 9.
Yeah.
So, I mean, even a team like West Ham sitting at 12 is only a couple wins away from being near the top 5. So, like, you have a very condensed 14 through 5, 14 through 3. So, obviously, West Ham probably isn't going to do that, but it just shows that if you go on a string of 3-4 games of picking up 10 to 12 points, I mean, you can really change your position on the table. So don't count out anyone who's low. I mean, even Wolves picking up their first win. Ipswich getting their first win. Like, things are looking up for a lot of teams.
Yes, getting Ipswich, and I just got to get my Wolves out of the relegation zone. That's all. That's what I'm mostly concerned about at this point. But yeah, just to recap on that recap, we did have you ended up. Hold on, let me make sure. Yeah, you ended up in positive territory still. I was -4 units for this match. I've had a rough stretch. My October, November has not been kind to me across either of our selections. In fact, going back to last year and checking out where we were at a similar position for match day 11, even the favorites are way down. So favorites were at 64 units last year. They're only at 27 as of this year. And we're both trailing our own respective places by... I mean, I was at 91 units at this point last year, and I'm only at 59 right now. Oh, that's not great. You're at 71 as opposed to 86. So we're both trailing our own performance last year, but I think a lot of that gets chalked up to Nottingham Forest being so good and Manchester United being so bad. I think that's a lot of what's really thrown us off. Hopefully we ourselves can take this international break, recoup, recollect, reorganize, something else, recycle, I don't know, and figure it out, because we have had some poor performances these past couple weeks.
It's been a less than predictable season, which as a viewer, I'm okay with. As a predictor, not the best, but we're looking long term. We're just trying to stay positive long term.
Yeah,
we're not trying to hit the Bitcoin of the year. It'd be nice to ride that out, but we're just trying to stay positive.
And we're still up big units. I mean, we're still up a good bit. We're just having a little bit of a rough patch. We're gonna figure it out. We're gonna get back on the other side of this, get our picks going, and until we do, why don't you go ahead and grab your coffee, watch some soccer, and we'll see you on the other side. Whoop.